All right, I'm sorry. I have to talk about this goddamn June versus Luke thing in The Handmaid's Tale one more time because today's episode, Testimony, the 8th episode of season 4, kind of brings that sort of complicated, weird moment last week into focus this week. I won't recap the whole episode. I've written a recap if you'd like to read that and kind of some of my thoughts on the other stuff with like the support circle, with Aunt Lydia and Commander Lawrence, and with with the trial and the testimony where this episode gets its name. But in terms of Luke and June, this week we see just kind of how badly screwed up their relationship continues to be until the end, when I think they really actually come together in a moment that's honest and intimate, and June decides she's finally going to start telling Luke the truth and not sparing him the troubling, traumatizing details, which is what he wants. It may not be easy for him still, but I think it will be a better overall experience for the two of them, just to be honest with one another. 3 things occur in this episode that indicate to me that last week's sex scene was not a rape, but rather just a very awkward and sort of unexpected moment of sexual interaction that was neither intimate nor romantic, but also not sexual assault. And if you are going to call me a rape apologist or some other horrible thing in the comments, that is your right. I'm just going to point out that if I were a rape apologist, I would have been cheerleading Gilead this whole time. But I haven't been. I mean, what can I say? Anyways, first thing, in the sort of what happened last week recap at the very beginning, we see that after June covers Luke's mouth, she then releases that, and we see him lean back, and there's a frown on his face, right? He's weirded out by what's going on, because this isn't really like June, right? To be so forceful and take charge this way, to prevent him from touching her, prevent him from speaking. This is just not the June he remembers, and this bothers him, understandably, even though I find a lot of Luke's reasoning and emotional shit here kind of self-centered. He knows how traumatizing, I mean, not the degree of how traumatizing Gilead was, but he knows she's been, trapped there for years, and you'd think that he would just expect her to be a little fucked up and to just be patient, which is what Moira tells him later. So people had said that because she covered his mouth, he wasn't able to say stop, he wasn't able to say no. But clearly, this scene makes it clear that she released his mouth very quickly afterwards, and he just didn't say anything. Okay, that's one. The second thing is when Luke is talking with Moira, he tells her that it's been very hard, and that when they're talking about things like Hannah, and in the bedroom, June seems like a different person, like a stranger, I think are the words he uses. June hears all of this, by the way, but he describes her as a stranger in bed. And Moira tells him that he needs to be patient, that this was an enormously difficult thing for her to go through, obviously, and that he needs to be patient. So what this indicates to me, again, is he's not telling Moira, oh, she's raping me when no one's looking. He's saying she's like a stranger in bed, which, again, I think backs my original take, which is that he isn't not wanting to have sex. He's just not sure what the hell's going on. This person who he has had sex with previously is like a different person now. This is fucking with his head. Okay, great. Finally, they later on, after they have after this trial that he goes to, even though she asks him not to, because he feels like he needs to know what happened to her, and this is the only way he can really find out, since she's not talking with him about it. After that, they're sitting at dinner, and he is trying to get more out of her. He wants her to talk to him. She doesn't want to talk. He gets emotional and makes it kind of about himself, which, again, I think is showing some of Luke's, I don't want to say immaturity, because it must be really hard, but it is a little self-centered to continue to make her trauma and her experiences about him. Especially because, like, Moira told him the best advice he could get is patience, right? But anyways, she comes around and she starts kissing him, and this kissing very quickly turns into her starting to take his pants off, take his belt off. And he doesn't want to do that, so he stops her in no uncertain terms. He pushes her hands away. He tells her to stop. He says he wants to talk. He doesn't want to have sex. He wants to talk. Why won't she talk with him? Okay, this again backs my take that if Luke didn't want to have sex, he would just tell her to stop, and he could easily physically stop her. And that's what he does in this scene. She is avoiding conversation and intimacy by trying to just have sex, which I think is partly a way of her taking control of her sexuality, partly a way of just getting him to shut the fuck up because she doesn't want to have a conversation. She doesn't want to talk. She's not ready to talk. But he needs that. He doesn't need sex, and I don't know what she needs. But anyways, he stops this. That all goes ground to a halt, and she doesn't rape him. Because he just stops her, right? And then she wasn't trying to rape him in the first place. She was trying to get it on. He didn't want to. He stopped it. Okay, so I think all these things pretty much back my takes. I had 2 previous videos about this, but my takes were this was not a rape. This was not a sexual assault. This was a scene where one partner was kind of thrown off by the other partner because it wasn't the kind of sex they were expecting or used to, accustomed to. And that their misgivings on that were expressed. But ultimately, like, I think Luke just went with it because, you know, he wanted to have sex also. And you can have mixed feelings. You can have complicated feelings about something like a sexual encounter where you want that, but it goes down in a way that makes you uncomfortable. Again, I think marital complexities of this nature, they are done a horrible disservice by saying that, no, this must be rape. I think this episode backs my own take on all of this. I don't think that the show is trying to portray rape. I don't think that they're trying to say that June is adopting the sexual proclivities of her tormentors. I think that it's just showing the complicated, kind of shitty space that Luke and June are in right now in their relationship. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so. I think sex is complicated. I think relationships are complicated. And I don't think that I'm apologizing for rape or saying that consent isn't important. I'm saying that consent is often murkier than what people would have you believe these days, as though there is some bright shining light of yes or no in every sexual encounter. I just don't think that that's realistic or true to life. No matter how utopian we wish the world was or relationships were, I don't believe in utopias. I don't believe in a world where every single interaction between human beings is cut and dry. So that's my 2 cents. I don't see any reason to say otherwise, and I hope we can have a civil conversation about this. Thank you for watching so much. I really appreciate the ongoing conversation. A lot of you guys in the comments, you guys and gals, whatever, have been very thoughtful, have made some great observations, have noticed things that I didn't notice. Some of you have been critical of my take, but in a civil and engaging way, and I appreciate that too. You don't have to agree with me. I don't care about that. I joke around about some of the less savory comments, but some people just feel really strongly about this, and that's cool. Whatever. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Much love. Y'all are the best. Peace.